Just when you thought the Snow White saga had already hit peak Hollywood absurdity, the story twists again, and this time, the drama is nuclear. Rachel Zegler, once Disney's anointed princess, is out, gone. Replaced, quietly pushed out the side door of the Magic Kingdom, while the castle gates slam behind her. Before we dive into one of the most bizarre and chilling mysteries to ever hit Hollywood, make sure to subscribe if you love deep dives into unsolved cases, hidden truths, and shocking celebrity mysteries. Trust me, this one is going to leave you speechless. And who's stepping in? None other than Brett Cooper, a name that has already sparked massive reactions across the internet. Yes, that Brett Cooper, the conservative media personality turned rising actress, who now finds herself at the center of a cultural crossfire that's making Zegler's meltdown look like just the first act. Insiders have been whispering for weeks, but now it's undeniable. Disney has finally cut Rachel Zegler loose. No press release, no official firing, just the silent Hollywood maneuver known as the soft exit. You get pulled from internal decks, you stop receiving studio calls, your team is thanked for their service in emails that were blind copied to legal. And when Brett Cooper started trending with rumors that she'd be the new face of Snow White, Zegler reportedly lost it. One source close to the situation said, Rachel was blindsided. She thought the project was dead, not recast. But Disney doesn't leave IPs dead for long, and they sure as hell don't leave them in the hands of someone who torched the brand with press tour mic drops and political Twitter rants. Let's be real, Brett Cooper is a shocking pick, not because she lacks talent, but because her past affiliation with the Daily Wire immediately puts her at odds with the exact culture war Disney spent the last 5 years trying to sidestep. And that's exactly why this is so wild. Disney, the poster child for progressive corporate messaging, is now handing the keys to one of its most iconic fairy tales to someone who has built a massive following criticizing modern Hollywood. It's like they're doing an emotional 180, swerving so hard to get away from the Zegler era that they're willing to flirt with their old enemies just to make it right with the fans. Is it hypocritical? Absolutely. Is it entertaining? You have no idea. Within hours of the casting leak, Brett Cooper was trending, not just for being cast, but for her rumored comments behind the scenes. One anonymous source alleged that Cooper told a producer, "I don't need to fix Snow White. She wasn't broken," and boom, just like that, the quote was everywhere. Fan edits, YouTube reactions, TikToks of Zegler interviews juxtaposed with side-by-sides of Brett Cooper smiling in fan art. The phrase "Better Snow White" started circulating like wildfire, and it landed exactly where you'd expect, right in Rachel Zegler's notifications. Those close to Zegler say she's devastated by the recast, not just because she lost the role, but because of who replaced her. According to reports, Zegler has been inconsolable since the Brett Cooper news broke, feeling betrayed by Disney, and deeply hurt by how quickly the internet embraced her replacement. Let's not forget, Zegler believed she was Snow White. She gave interviews about redefining the role, about tearing down old tropes, about girl-bossing her way through the kingdom without needing a man or a fairy tale ending. And now, she's watching the role get handed to someone who's openly critical of the very messaging she built her version around. It's not just a recast, it's a repudiation. To say the fandom is divided is an understatement. Some are thrilled, finally someone who gets the story. Others are horrified. Disney sold out to win back red state dollars, but the common thread is this: people care again. The original Snow White remake left fans feeling insulted, alienated, and ignored, but the reboot, no matter how polarizing, is at least sparking a reaction. For Disney, that's gold. For Rachel Zegler, that's salt in the wound. Sources say Disney is actively working behind the scenes to rewrite the Rachel Zegler chapter of their Snow White disaster. How? By quietly framing the reboot as a return to emotional storytelling, sincerity, and legacy-respecting magic. Every line in the new casting calls references, timeless wonder, authentic femininity, and respect for tradition. Gee, wonder who that's aimed at. And Zegler, once front and center, is now allegedly being portrayed as a misaligned casting decision, a polite corporate way of saying, she was the wrong fit, and we know it now. Brutal, but effective. If you think this drama is limited to Disney, think again. Studios across Hollywood are now rethinking how they cast legacy roles, not just based on performance, but on attitude, public persona, fan alignment. Because Rachel Zegler didn't just fumble the bag, she lit it on fire and live-streamed it. And Brett Cooper, she's the unexpected answer to a studio system that's been caught between pleasing activist shareholders and outraged audiences for the better part of a decade. It's a strategic pivot, and every casting director is now watching to see how it plays out. So where does this leave Rachel? Frankly, nowhere good. The industry's perception of her is in shambles. Studios see her as a PR liability, executives see her as someone who couldn't carry a franchise, and audiences, many of them still feel burned by her dismissive attitude toward the source material they love. Unless she pulls off a massive rebrand, a humble comeback tour, a redemption arc, a soul-bearing interview with Oprah, this may be the last big role she lands for a while. And you can feel it in the silence, the Instagram stillness, the sudden deactivation of comments. The profile that once boomed with powerful young star energy now reads more like a digital gravestone. At the end of the day, this story isn't about politics, or casting, or even one failed movie. It's about how Hollywood forgot who these stories were for. Fairy tales aren't about fixing the past, they're about wonder, beauty, love, courage, and yes, sometimes happily ever after. Zegler didn't just reject those values, she mocked them, and now she's watching the roles she tried to rewrite get handed to someone who promises to honor them instead. Will Brett Cooper nail it? Who knows? But the message is clear. She learned the hard way that if you don't believe in the magic moves on without you. The role was her whole brand, and Disney just gave it away for Rachel Zegler. Snow White wasn't just another gig, it was her brand, her platform, her throne. She built an entire identity around being the princess of the new generation. She gave interviews about rethinking romance, reprogramming girlhood, and burning the old tropes to the ground, like she was storming Cinderella's castle with a flamethrower. She didn't just play Snow White, she tried to own Snow White, and now, it's gone, handed to someone who represents everything she openly rejected. Brett Cooper, the woman who proudly said she wants to preserve the magic, not dismantle it. Can you imagine the fury, the betrayal, the sheer ego-bruising humiliation? Zegler didn't lose a role, she lost a revolution she thought she was leading. Sources close to the situation describe Zegler's state as emotionally raw, deeply humiliated, and angrily confused. She apparently found out about Cooper's involvement not from Disney directly, but from Twitter, while scrolling. Let that sink in. You give everything to a role, you go to war in interviews defending your vision, you put your entire reputation on the line, and then you find out your replacement from a hashtag. That's not just a slap in the face, that's a full-speed backhand from the entire Disney corporate structure, and insiders say the moment it hit her, Zegler locked herself away and cut all contact with her reps for over 48 hours. One word: meltdown. And while Zegler implodes in private, Brett Cooper is publicly thriving. She's doing interviews, posting radiant selfies, liking fan art that declares her the fairest of them all. She even dropped a video teasing a very exciting classic role coming soon, complete with a not-so-subtle wink. Make no mistake, she knows exactly what she's doing. This isn't just a job, this is a statement. A shot across the bow of the culture war Disney's been dancing around for years. A bold-faced declaration that maybe, just maybe, the pendulum has swung back toward traditional storytelling and away from weaponized reboots. Let's just call it what it is. This entire mess is Hollywood's messiest identity crisis laid bare. For years, studios have been pandering to social media rather than storytelling. They chased headlines, not heart, clicks, not character. And Rachel Zegler became the face of that movement, a mouthpiece for modernized narratives that didn't land with the people actually buying tickets. Now Brett Cooper steps in and says, "Let's just tell a good story again," and half the internet erupts in applause. That's the plot twist no one saw coming, because this isn't just a recast, this is a repudiation of the entire reimagine everything model. Disney's playing it cute, but we know what this is: Disney's official stance. No comment, no confirmations, no denials, just a suspiciously timed reboot announcement, and the quiet removal of Zegler from all future mentions. Please, they're not being diplomatic, they're being calculated. This is PR chess, and Rachel was just sacrificed like a pawn. Brett Cooper? She's the queen they just pulled out of the velvet box. Disney is trying to save face by pretending this isn't political, that they just want a fresh start. But come on, you don't swap Zegler for Cooper unless you're doing a complete 180-degree narrative shift, and the fans know it. The moment Brett Cooper's name trended next to Snow White, Twitter became a battlefield. Zegler stands accusing Disney of selling out, Cooper fans declaring victory for common-sense storytelling, Disney adults spiraling over which version of Snow White should be canon. But you know what all that chaos proves? People still care. And after Snow White 2025 was met with yawns, memes and boycott threads, that is the one thing Disney needed more than anything. So if Cooper is controversial, so be it. At least she's captivating. And now that she's been officially iced out, the internet is resurfacing everything. Clips of her saying Snow White doesn't need a man, tweets where she mocks the original animation, that viral interview where she laughs about not watching the original film in full. At the time, it was edgy, empowering, feminist recontextualization. Now, it just looks arrogant. And when you're no longer the lead in the movie, suddenly the world stops giving you the benefit of the doubt. Now she's not Snow White, she's just the girl who killed the magic. Say what you will about Cooper, her casting is strategic genius. She's articulate, media-trained, controversy-proofed. She knows how to work both traditional press and viral platforms, and most importantly, she respects the IP. That alone sets her a mile apart from Zegler's approach. You want to win fans back? Give them someone who treats their childhood classics like treasure, not homework. Disney knows they need a win, and Brett Cooper might just be the anti-Zegler antidote they've been praying for. Let's be blunt, this could be career-ending. When you get cast as an icon, stir up global backlash, mock the material, alienate fans, lose the studio, and get replaced by your philosophical opposite? That's not just a career misstep, that's a Hollywood cautionary tale in the making. Right now Zegler's brand is tainted. Her name trends for the wrong reasons. Studios are reportedly hesitant to touch her. Even former allies are quietly distancing themselves. It's not personal, it's business. And in business, you don't invest in unstable assets. So where does this leave us? With Brett Cooper seemingly stepping into the shoes of Disney's most sacred princess, and Rachel Zegler watching from the sidelines, the narrative has flipped so hard it's almost poetic. One princess deconstructed the story, the other promises to preserve it. One dismissed the legacy, the other wants to honor it. And for the first time in a long time, Disney is betting that honoring the past might actually be the way forward. Will it work? Too soon to tell, but one thing's for sure, Rachel Zegler thought she was rewriting the fairy tale. Turns out, she just wrote her own Hollywood tragedy. Let us know in the comments. Do you think Brett Cooper can redeem Snow White? Was Rachel Zegler unfairly treated, or did she sabotage herself? Smash that subscribe button for more Hollywood implosions, red carpet meltdowns, and fairy tale reboots that go nuclear, because in this kingdom, drama reigns supreme.